Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. Welcome back to our Uddhava-gita course. We're in the middle of this beautiful chapter, which is just like chapter 10 of the Bhagavad-gita, and even Krishna said so in the beginning of the chapter when he told the Uddhava, look, you're asking the same question that Arjuna asked, so I'm going to explain. So he explains like the same style. And in this style, it's called Aishvarya-jnana. It's where Krishna lists the most wonderful things in each category, from snakes, from planets, from mountains, whatever you can think of all the categories, he will list the greatest thing of that category, and he'll say, that thing is me. So it's a wonderful Aishvarya-jnana section, so we can understand the supremacy, the greatness of God, how amazing Krishna is, how Krishna is the greatest, the best. It's a very important meditation tool for you to understand the position of God and how that is so different from the position of the jiva, to understand the glory of God so you can make your connection with God. It helps your bhakti, it strengthens your bhakti to understand the supremacy and power of Krishna. So it's a beautiful chapter. And it's also, I love these chapters as well, the 10th chapter of the Gita and this chapter here of the Uddhava-gita, because they also give us a little tour, as it were, of the culture, of the Vedic culture of the time. It allows us to understand certain aspects of the culture that was, prevalent when Krishna was speaking these words. So it's also very important in that cultural, historic sense. So anyway, of course, if you want to watch all the previous classes, we almost have 90 classes. We're almost up to 90 classes in this Uddhava-gita course. It is really big and we're just starting. There's lots more to go. It's a huge course. It's very deep, very important. If you want to watch the whole course, make sure you become a member of this channel, and the instructions are here in the description of the video. And then you can go to Uddhava-gita.com and you can watch the whole course nicely organized there. So here we are in the 11th canto, 16th chapter, verse 17. I am Airavata among lordly elephants, and among aquatics I am Varuna, the lord of the seas. Among all things that heat and illuminate, I am the sun. And among human beings, I am the king. So, Airavata is a famous lord of the celestial elephants. It's not an elephant here on earth. It's the celestial elephant. There's a great story with Airavata, which you can get also in the Bhagavad Purana, several cantos back. And of course, among aquatics, he says he's Varuna. Varuna is the Vedic equivalent of Poseidon, of Aquaman these days, you'd have to say. So he is the Lord of the seas. And heat and light, he's the sun. So these verses are also very good because as you go about your life and you're feeling the heat from the sun, you're seeing the brightness of the light coming from the sun, and you can remember, Krishna. So that also helps you as a meditation tool to reconnect your mind to Krishna. And among human beings, I am the king, the topmost, the most powerful human. Purport. It is significant to know that Lord Krishna is represented within this universe by the Lord or Supreme in all categories. That's the idea. So that's the idea of this whole chapter. No one can be as aristocratic and perfect as Sri Krishna, nor can anyone estimate the glories of Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna is without doubt the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 18. Among horses I am Uchaishrava, and I am gold among metals. I am Yamaraj among those who suppress and punish, and among serpents I am Vasuki. So Uchaishrava also appears in the Bhagavad Purana when there's the churning of the milk ocean, a wonderful section of the Bhagavad Purana, also several cantos back. And of course, among metals, I am gold, and I am Yamaraj among those who suppress and punish. So who is Yamaraj? Yama is Yamaraj, king of Yama, the king of suppression. Yama means to control, right? We do the yamas and niyamas in the Uddhava-gita. In the Yoga Sutras, the yamas and niyamas. Yama means those things you have to control. So Yama has control, suppressing. But Yamaraj is also the god of death, as it were. But he's also called Dharmaraj, the god of Dharma. So Dharmaraj, Yamaraj, is the judge. He is the one who is responsible for the transmigrational justice system. He's the one who has to apply the law of karma. So when creatures die, when humans die, you have to come before Yamaraj, and then it's like, oh, okay. And there's no lawyers to help you out, and you can't bribe Yamaraj. Okay, so this is what you've done. So then he decides what you need to be able to become a better person. So the punishment, if you want to put it that way. So he's the one who does all this. He suppresses and he punishes the deviant souls. And among serpents, I'm Vasuki. Also in the same section of the journey of the milk ocean, you have Vasuki and Uchaishrava. Verse 19, O sinless Uddhava, among the best of snakes, I am Anantadeva. And among those animals with sharp horns or teeth, I am the lion. Among the social orders, I am the fourth, or the renounced order of life, sannyas. And among the occupational divisions, I am the first, the brahmanas. So here we go. First he talks about Anantadeva, of course, of all serpents. None is so glorious and powerful as the expansion of God himself. Anantadeva was actually here in my altar. You probably can't see because it's a bit small, but Anantadeva is here behind Lord Nrsingadeva. So Anantadeva always is the seat. Lord Vishnu is always lying on this serpent. That serpent is Anantadeva. It's an expansion of God. And among lions with sharp horns or teeth, I am the lion. And among social orders, I am the fourth. So the fourth, he's talking about the Varnashra system now. So the Varnashra system, you have the four Varnas and the four Ashramas. So the four Varnas are Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmana. So he says, I'm the fourth. I'm the first, because it starts with the top. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Says, I'm the first, the Brahmanas. And of the Ashramas, I am the fourth. And so the sequence is Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and then Sannyas. He says, that's the best one. It's when you're free from all responsibilities of social duties and you can focus on your spiritual life. Verse 20. Among sacred and flowing things, I am the holy Ganges. And among the steady bodies of water, I am the ocean. Among weapons, I am the bow, and of the wielders of weapons, I am Lord Shiva. So, of course, the Ganges is the greatest river in Vedic culture, and it's coming directly from beyond the universe, and it has the dust of the lotus feet of Vishnu. That's why it's so holy and powerful. And so, of course, Krishna, of the rivers, he'd be the Ganges. And of the steady bodies of water, the ocean. What's more impressive than an ocean? Among weapons, the bow. Of course, the bow, you might think, oh, but come on. We have like miniguns now and machine guns, and we have all these other weapons now. We have the atomic weapon now. But actually, if you studied Mahabharata, if you study, even actually the Bhagavad Purana, you'll see that the bow and arrow wasn't just like a little bow and arrow like we know of it today. They had this power to use mystic weapons. So you'll see that they actually had the Brahmastra. They actually had an atomic weapon that they would invoke, they would use through the medium of a bow and arrow. So they talk about that. It was such a powerful weapon that it could destroy the whole world. So they talk about that. You'll see that in Bhagavad Purana. You'll see that, in the stories. So they had these super powered weapons that would combine yogic technology, mystic technology, manipulation of matter with the simple concept of a bow and arrow. So they did actually have more, they were actually more powerful, these weapons. Arjuna had more powerful weapons than a modern army would have with his apparently simple bow and arrow, because he could invoke wind, fire, even an atomic explosion through his. That's what it says, that, and the texts were saying these things before. It's not like we're just making this up now to compensate. The text came thousands of years before modern warfare, and so they were talking about these things that didn't exist, and so we can't say we're just copying it now, we're saying. So they had more powerful weapons. And of the wielders of weapons, I am Lord Shiva. And of course, on the same topic, it's very interesting that Arjuna does indeed fight Lord Shiva. And there's a moment where, because Arjuna receives all this power, he's a Shakti Avesha avatar. So he receives this fighting power from Krishna. And he's so powerful that he could actually defeat Lord Shiva in battle, which normally would be impossible, of course, because Lord Shiva is the topmost, the most powerful wielder of weapons. But he receives this special power to be able to do that. And then as soon as Krishna leaves the planet, he gets defeated by just a gang of bandits. He can't even fight a simple little, human gang of bandits, because his power goes. As soon as Krishna goes, his super Kshatriya powers, his super military powers go. Purport: Lord Shiva used his bow to completely cover with arrows the 3 demonic cities built by Maya Danava. Verse 21. Among residences, I am Mount Sumeru, and of impervious places, I am the Himalayas. Among trees, I am the holy fig tree, and among plants, I am those that bear grains. Purport: Oshadinam here indicates those plants that fructify once and then die. Among them, those that give grains which sustain human life represent Krishna. Without grains, it is not possible to produce milk products, nor can one properly perform Vedic fire sacrifices without offerings of grains. Verse 22. Among priests, I am Vashishta Muni, and among those highly situated in Vedic culture, I am Brihaspati. I am Kartikeya among great military leaders, and among those advancing in superior ways of life, I am the great personality, Lord Brahma. Okay, so some very important personalities cited here in this. So Vashishta Muni, he is the guru, the priest, who's doing yagyas, fire yagyas at the time of Lord Ram. And he actually asks then Lord Ram to help him to protect his yagya he's doing from the attack of asuras. So he's from the Lord Ram, from the Ramayana, from the Lord Ram pastimes. And so very, very famous. In Vashishta, he's, parts of the Rig Veda written by him. He's a very important, very famous priestly, Brahminical, sage figure in the Vedas. And among those highly situated in Vedic culture, I am Brihaspati. So Brihaspati is like the Brahmana of the demigods. So Brihaspati is a celestial super Brahmana. He takes care of the Brahminical duties for the demigods. Again, the rituals, the fire sacrifices, the rules, the dharma, the teachings, the general work of a Brahmana. He takes care of that. He's Brihaspati. And Kartikeya is the general. He's the celestial general. He's in charge of the military forces of the demigods. Verse 23, among sacrifices, I am the study of the Veda, and I am non-violence among vows. Among all things that purify, I am the wind, fire, the sun, water, and speech. Okay, so this is interesting. Among of all the yagyas, he says, among yagyas, I am the study of the Vedas. That's interesting, isn't it? Because Krishna emphasizes the power of study, the power of jnana. So the most important thing you can do in human life is to acquire knowledge with which you can then trace your path back home, back to God. You can then become enlightened. You can then make a better life for yourself and for others and for the world. So you need knowledge. So the best yagya, he says, is to study the Vedas. And among all the vows, all the vratas, vows, he says, I am ahimsa. So that's, that is the topmost. That is the mother of all other rules, ahimsa. That's why it's always there, number one on the list. You'll see it in Bhagavad-gita, you see it in Yoga Sutras, you see it everywhere. Ahimsa, it's always there at the top. Because if you pay attention, all the other moral and ethical issues, they start from a lack of ahimsa. So if you're going to steal, for example, why stealing? Because it's a form of violence. I mean, if you've had something stolen from you, you feel violated. It hurts. When you lie to someone, it's a form of violence. That's why people don't like liars, because it hurts. It causes damage. So it's a form of violence. So it all starts with ahimsa. When you practice ahimsa, all the other ethical rules and behaviors, everything else is already set. If you're not practicing pain, if you're not causing pain, then you're not breaking any dharma. You're behaving perfectly well. So he's ahimsa. And among the things that purify, then he lists all these things: wind, fire, sun, water, and speech. It's interesting, isn't it? You can purify yourself. This is again a nice insight into Vedic culture. You can purify yourself with wind, fire, sun, water, and speech. Things can be purified. Depending on what the thing is, you'll be purified by these different elements. Verse 24. Among the 8 progressive states of yoga, the ashta, yoga, ashta, the 8 things of yoga, So among the 8 progressive states of yoga, the ashtangas, I am the final stage, samadhi, in which the soul is completely separated from illusion. Among those desiring victory, I am prudent political counsel. And among processes of expert discrimination, I am the science of the soul, by which one distinguishes spirit from matter. Among all speculative philosophers, I am diversity of perception. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. So, of course, of Ashtanga, the whole point of Ashtanga is to get to Samadhi. So, of course, Krishna is Samadhi among all the 8 limbs of yoga. And those desiring victory, prudent political counsel. It's very interesting. And the process of discrimination, I am the science of the soul. And vikshiki, so you can distinguish matter and spirit. That's the whole point of understanding that viveka. That's a major theme of the Yoga Sutras, to develop viveka, distinction from matter and spirit. Okay. Purport. Any science is based on the faculty of expert discrimination. By skillful definition of isolated and interactive components, one becomes expert in any field. Ultimately, the most intelligent person can isolate the spirit, soul from matter and describe the properties of matter and spirit as both isolated and interactive components of reality. The proliferation of innumerable philosophical speculations is due to differing modes of perception within the material world. As stated in Bhagavad-gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham ridi sanivisto mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart and awards a particular degree of knowledge or ignorance according to one's desire and merit. And thus, the Lord Himself is the basis of the mundane process of philosophical speculation, for He creates differing and alternating modes of perception within the conditioned souls. It is to be understood that one can acquire perfect knowledge only by hearing directly from Lord Krishna and not by hearing from conditioned philosophers who imperfectly perceive the creation of the Lord through the screen of their personal desires. Verse 25, among ladies I am Shatarupa, and among male personalities I am her husband Swayambhuva Manu. I am Narayana among the sages and Sanat Kumara among brahmacharis. So Shatarupa is the first female created by Lord Brahma, the very first one. So Krishna is literally the first. This is the original first lady, Shatarupa. And then she, of course, here Lord Brahma creates Shatarupa with Swayambhuva Manu, and they start, the first Manu period of the universe. They start they take care of that section, the first period of Manu. And then, of course, other Manus come along, but they're the first ones. And Narayana here among sages, he's talking about Nara Narayana, which is an avatar of God, which with Arjuna as well, where Arjuna comes as Arjuna and Krishna come as Nara Narayana. So it comes as a pair of, perfect sages that wander through the earth enlightening people. So these are the topmost sages. Nara Narayana, of course, he's Narayana in that duel, and Arjuna is the Nara of Narayana. And among brahmacharis, I'm Sanat Kumara. Now, Sanat Kumara is also the first brahmachari as well. So when it's the first creature to come to life in the universe, actually, after Lord Brahma, the first creatures that Lord Brahma creates are the four Kumaras. And they all decide to remain as brahmacharis. They all decide to halt their progress with a body equivalent of a 5-year-old. They decide that there's no good comes from becoming older, and then all the whole social responsibilities and sexual attraction and all that entanglement. They don't want any of that. They refuse to get engaged in any kind of social family life, to the great frustration of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma gets really angry with that. He gets so angry that Lord Shiva comes out of his third eye. He gets angry because these four Kumaras, because he wanted to populate the whole universe. He needed people to have children, to have lots of children to be able to populate the universe. And the first he produces, the four Kumaras, they just say, no, we're going to be brahmacharis, we're going to be celibate. What do you mean celibate? I need lots of people, I need to populate the world, the universe with, countless trillions of beings, you want to celibate. But they say, no, it's too much trouble. We just want to meditate and contemplate spiritual life, and we don't want any of this stuff. So there, so Krishna says among brahmacharis, he's Sanat Kumara. Verse 26, among religious principles, I am sannyas. Not religious principles here, it's just Bhattacharya. Among dharma, Krishna says, among all the dharmas, I am sannyas. So among dharmas, I am sannyas. And of all types of security, I am consciousness of the eternal soul within. Of secrets, I am pleasant speech and silence. And among sexual pairs, I am Brahma. So, Of dharmas, I am sannyas. So of all the dharmas, you can assume he likes sannyas. You can see he's already said that the fourth order of the varnashram system, sannyas, of the ashram system, is Krishna. Now he's saying again that he's sannyas. So Krishna likes sannyas a lot because he likes people to be able to understand life correctly. Of course, if you want to understand what a real sannyas is, you should check out, there's a video on this channel where Krishna describes what real sannyas is in the Bhagavad-gita. And it doesn't mean wearing orange robes, or it doesn't even mean that you have to necessarily not even be married. Actually, the real sannyas described by Krishna is a concept of life. It's a mindset of renunciation, of detachment from material life and focus on spiritual life. So that's the real sannyas. We all have to be sannyasis right now. We don't have to, it's not a thing you do like, oh, after I leave a family, grandchildren, okay, now I'm going to become sannyas. No. The real sannyas you can see from Bhagavad-gita, and there's a video on this channel. I'll try to leave the link to it in the description of the video here, is for all of us. So that's what Krishna is saying. That's the dharma he wants us all to practice. And this is really interesting. Of all types of security, I am consciousness of the eternal soul within. This is very interesting because it's such. You feel so safe. I mean, I've felt this, for decades. It's just the most wonderful feeling when you really understand your spiritual nature, your nature beyond matter, beyond, not only beyond this body, but beyond all of matter. There is no safer feeling of security. It's the most wonderful feeling of security. And when you understand also you can take shelter of God, you got nothing to do with the whole universe could blow up and it doesn't matter. It won't affect me. It won't affect me at all because I am not from matter. I have nothing to do with matter. So it's a very powerful sensation. It's very interesting that Krishna mentions of all types of security, I am consciousness of the eternal soul within. Once you understand that, you can become fearless. And that's why in Bhagavad-gita, Krishna several times says that the yogi experiences no fear. Of secrets, I am pleasant speech and silence. Now in Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says just silence, which is wonderful, right? Of all secrets, silence. But here also Krishna added pleasant speech and silence. So pleasant speech also because, people say politicians are very good there. They say things, it sounds very nice. They're not actually saying anything. Nothing was revealed, but you kind of walk away thinking, okay, that was, and then like you didn't get anything from it, you didn't notice. And among sexual pairs, I am Brahma. So of course, Lord Brahma is the original Prajapati. He's the one that all starts with him. So, he's the one who populated the whole universe. That was part of his duty. So he does that. Purport. One who realizes the eternal soul within no longer fears any material situation, and thus is qualified to accept the renounced order of life, sannyas. Certainly, fear is one of the greatest miseries of material life. Therefore, the gift of fearlessness is very valuable and represents Lord Krishna, both in ordinary pleasant speech and silence. Very few confidential things are revealed. And thus diplomacy and silence are both aids to secrecy. Lord Brahma is prominent among sexual pairs because the original beautiful couples, Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, emerged from Lord Brahma's body, as explained in chapter 12 of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very well, we're going to have to stop here for now, and we'll continue with this wonderful chapter in our next class. Have a wonderful day with lots of peace and lots of love. Hare Krishna.